welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app,
Howdy.
America's top-rated sportsbook app.
Go to
Don't
Texas
forget to
for
leave a like,
a
drop
weekend.
a comment, subscribe, even leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm Anthony Totri.
Yeah, you are.
Joined by Mr. Back Again himself.
Yeah, I am.
Shane Diefenbach.
Red as all hell.
Cowboy Diefenbach.
And Shawn DePause.
Yeah, he is.
Before we get to any of the phenomenal content that we've got locked and loaded for you guys, Shane, how was your trip to Texas? I know you accompanied Mac Morgan to Texas.
yeah. I escorted her there.
Nice.
She asked who I was.
Uh,
No, it was a really good time. Good kind of decompression from the studio life. I was on a boat. I got a beer thrown at me when I was in the water and cut my hand open a little bit. Got very sunburnt. I was telling them it's like a biannual. No, it's every other. No, biannual is twice a year.
Or every other year.
Okay. Yeah. Every other year I get really badly sunburnt. 2 years ago I was in the Salt River and got really badly sunburnt. Didn't get sunburnt last year. Got really badly sunburnt this year.
so you're good next year, though?
Yeah, feeling good for sure next year. Feeling the effects of it. I had to carry my backpack into the studio instead of wearing it.
Oh.
My shoulders are crispy. As crispy as the wings.
Yeah, I was going to say like a burnt wing or
Yeah, like a really hot wing.
I hope they're not burnt.
something along those lines. Well, it's not going to matter if they're burnt, they're cooked well. Like, you're not going to be able to taste
Well,
it.
I at least want some good chicken if I'm going to be.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Shawn lost a snake draft last week and now has to eat atomic wings.
Yes.
People are thinking I'm a coward out here.
I don't think you're a coward.
No, but
Yes,
as
you're a
both things I'm
coward.
going to puke. Lindsay said the same thing. I don't like. Maybe I'm wildly underestimating
You
how
are.
bad this
It's
is gonna
going to
be, but
hurt.
I know it's going to
Atomic
hurt,
wing.
but I don't think it's going to like ruin my life.
I don't necessarily. The goal wasn't for it to ruin your life, but it is a punishment that you will serve, and it's going to be. I am definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It is my second favorite part of the show.
Emma, you know putting this in preview mode doesn't change anything. They can still see you moving the camera.
Nice.
You think we're
The
just
camera
frozen?
is magic. I have been looking forward to
Enjoy
this
that
all
one,
day,
guys.
though, to be honest.
The wings?
Well, mainly that I'm getting free lunch.
Yeah. The punishment turned into me buying Shawn lunch.
Yeah.
Wait, well, no, that shouldn't. He should have to pay you for that.
Well, I was planning on going to get my own wings. Then Tochi was like, "Yeah, I'm going to get you Wingstop," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Puking ruins your life. No wonder men can't get pregnant.
I don't really understand
I
the
don't
logic
either.
there. As
I don't either. But moving on.
I feel like Shehan is probably like, "Oh, I'm going to watch my interview today," and then he goes into the show and it's just, I didn't realize what I was doing.
Yeah, 100%. So that is the big news that we've got for you guys today. We had CBS National College Football writer Shehan Jeyarajah on the show a little bit earlier today. The three of us got to ask him some really, really insightful questions, and he gave some phenomenal answers.
It was great.
As
It was a
to
really good
what's
interview.
going on in college athletics. Some really informative, great stuff. Why don't you guys take a look? We're joined now by CBS National College Football writer Shehan Jeyarajah. Shehan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So with everything changing, it seems, on a daily basis, an hourly basis in the realm of college athletics, just what can you tell us is the latest going on in terms of conference realignment?
Yeah, obviously the big news broke yesterday that the Big 12 is pretty aggressively going after 4 of those Pac-12 schools, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Certainly, yesterday we heard that the Pac-12 is entering a negotiating window with ESPN and Fox Sports, and my read on that is they just want to know what they have. They want to know the value of what they're about to have, what the value might be if they were to go to the Big 12, and what the value may be if they added expansion partners as well. So a lot fluid right now, obviously. So many pieces left, Notre Dame obviously being the big one, but kind of I think ultimately we're back where we were yesterday, just kind of waiting to see what kind of offers the Pac-12 may get.
So there's been so much in just really the past month about realignment, more than we've ever seen. Do you think that something like this is going to continue to happen until conferences are basically obsolete, or where do you think college football is heading in this, or just college sports in general?
Yeah, it's a good question, and some of these are happening as we speak, right? So we won't be able to get a firm answer, but I do think that one thing that we're seeing with obviously the USC and UCLA move is geography's dead, right? Like
Yeah.
that, it doesn't matter anymore. Regionalism is kind of dead. There's going to be a piece of it, I think, still, especially once you get below that Power Two level, which is I think what we're moving towards. But I think that's certainly the idea of a West Coast type conference of playing teams that are right in your backyard. It's going to largely be gone in search of more money, right? And I mean, even we talk, and we'll get to it, I'm sure. This talk about Arizona State joining the Big 12. I mean, they'd be playing potentially UCF, right? I mean, they'd be going to Orlando for conference games. So regionalism is kind of dying in college football. I think that there's still going to be a place for it, maybe long term, especially when you get below that Power Two. But I think that's the biggest thing you say. The other part of it too is that I think that how they set up this postseason long term is going to play a huge part in that. Right now, the SEC and Big Ten hold all the cards. If they wanted to, if they said tomorrow we're going to hold basically an AFC and NFC round of the playoffs and just put towards our champions, and that's that. I mean, there's not really a whole lot that anybody else could say about it at this point. I don't think we're going to get there. I think that there is still value from ESPN, from Fox, from even the Big Ten and SEC in having engagement around the country. And so I do think that we probably will end up with something closer to the 12-team playoff idea that was floated before. But I think that's going to play a huge role in this too. If it's a 4-team playoff, that's all 4 at-large bids, the reality is all those bids every single year are going to go to the Big Ten and SEC in a way that I think kind of bleeds out the rest of the sport. So I do think we're going to end up at a place where there is expansion, and that does sort of create sort of at least a second tier of college football that is still competitive. But again, a lot of stuff still left to figure out.
I know one of the things you wrote about kind of on that note is the possibility of there eventually being kind of a third tier, right? Like there being the elite tier of the FBS, and then of about like 30 to 50 schools, and then everyone else in the FBS kind of between that and the FCS. Do you think that that's a possibility, and how does that kind of change the landscape of college football?
Yeah, I think it depends how much access there is to the playoff, right? Because if it does end up being that sort of model that I talked about at first, which by the way, just as a fan of the game and as somebody who writes about the game, I think that sucks. I hope that we don't do that. I think that then there becomes some demand for maybe something that's secondary, right? Because if there's truly no access, not even like perceived access or potential access, I think that changes the game dramatically, because college football at its core is a game about dreamers in some ways, right? It's the idea that, that UTEP, that New Mexico State could go and someday build their way up to competing on the national stage. It's not real, and I think fans kind of understand that, but that sort of mirage is important, I think, to the appeal of college football. So if that's gone, if it's officially gone, and we have 2 conferences that play for a championship and that's it, I think that there could be some interest, and especially if it does end up being the current Big 12, the future Pac-12, the future ACC, minus maybe a couple of teams that do get to join the SEC and Big 10 rather. I think that there will be a lot of appetite for there to be sort of a second type of system, because there will still be a lot of big brands involved, right? Arizona State's a powerful brand. Oregon, Washington, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Certainly when we go east, we'll be talking about the North Carolinas and Virginia Techs and all those schools. I think that there would be plenty of interest in a product that showcases some of those schools as well. Now, I don't think we're going to get there. I think that we're going to end up in a system that still has some access to playing the Big Ten and SEC on the national stage. But the more that it consolidates and the more that it ends up closed off, I think the closer that we are to ending up with something like a third championship.
We've talked about college football on a broader scale, kind of reeling it into Arizona State. What is attractive to the Big 12 or just other conferences about Arizona State outside of the Phoenix market itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things you have to look at is population growth, right? I mean, the state of Arizona is a huge recipient of California population growth, and even people coming from the East Coast. I think that that's a long-term winner when you're looking at trends in college football, because you have to look at them in multiple ways, right? You have to look at, first of all, the number of people going, but also the engagement of those people to college football. And I think a lot of the people who are leaving California to come to Arizona are people who could be interested in college football. Another part of it, too, is that I think it makes a lot of geographical sense, right? I mean, it's still part of the American Southwest, so there's a natural connection to the state of Texas. I think that for Texas Tech, it's a school out in Lubbock. it makes a lot of sense to want to kind of connect those pieces together. And even when you go up to Utah with BYU about to enter the conference, I think it makes a lot of sense as well. And especially if you could do Arizona State with Arizona, with Colorado, with Utah, you kind of create a westward quadrant of the Big 12 that I think makes a lot of sense in terms of having some natural regional partnerships. But, certainly too, right? I mean, Arizona State's a great athletic program. We've never necessarily seen them at the highest level of football, but, we've seen them competing, having top 10, top 15, top 20 type teams. We've seen them recruiting at a high level, obviously before all of the mess that's kind of happened after the past couple of years. But there was something that was really working there. I mean, Jaden Daniels was a high level recruit, right? I mean, there's been Benjamin, right? Great players have come through Arizona State. And I think that even you look at basketball, you look at other sports too, there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to Arizona State. And of course, I'm sure the Big 12 would love to have the Cronkite School of Broadcasting, of course, part of their great portfolio as well.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest selling point, I think. I mean, you get people like this. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
So you talked about basketball. You have teams like Kansas in these big conferences who really don't compete in football, and then you have teams like U of A who don't really compete in football. Is basketball almost as big as a selling point if your program is on top as it is for football? Or like, what's the kind of ranking order in that? Does football trump all?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. I think that Kansas is a unique basketball situation, right? I mean, Kansas is like one of the 3 best brands in the country when it comes to basketball. Obviously, they're reigning national champions right now. And so they create a lot of brand value just built off of that, to where it's probably still worth it for at least major conferences to consider them. And, I think that Arizona's probably half a step below that in terms of sort of national branding when it comes to basketball, right? I mean, they're right below, but there's like the Kansas Duke tier, and that's basically the tier, right? And North Carolina. And so I think that Arizona has a lot to sell when it comes to basketball for sure. I think it's a draw. And I think you look at this new Big 12 as well, they're not just going to be able to make their money on just being a football conference. I think that you look at what the Big 12 is right now, it's been arguably the best basketball conference over the last decade. They have the 2 reigning national champions right now in Baylor and Kansas. So I think that there will be some value in adding schools that do focus on basketball. Now, can Arizona be what it has been the last 2 years? Absolutely not, right? I mean, that's not sustainable long term. You see, even Kansas, there's a lot of investment to try to get them out of the mud as well. And long term, I mean, realistically, they cannot be what they've been over the past decade post Charlie Weiss. So there's value in it, I think, especially in the Big 12, and we'll see what happens with the ACC also as well. I mean, that's kind of another piece that really hasn't even started its movement as yet. But I think there will be some value to really double down on basketball and create some value there. But I think it's more secondary. I mean, if you're a great football brand, it just means more than it does to be a great basketball brand. Unless, again, you can maybe make the argument, unless you're Kansas or Duke or North Carolina.
So, I mean, you mentioned Jaden Daniels earlier. Obviously, ASU is a school that has had a pretty interesting relationship with NIL. They've lost arguably their 2 biggest names this season due to NIL. How does NIL kind of play into all of this? And do you think ultimately players stand to benefit or get hurt by all of this realignment and all of this just kind of all of the power kind of moving into the hands of 2 conferences, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think that more than NIL, like you said, that power consolidating, I think, ends up being a tough look for the sport, right? Because, all of a sudden, is it going to be more valuable to join the 13th best team in the SEC than it would be to compete at the highest level in a new Big 12 or Pac 12? I don't know the answer to that, right? I mean, I don't like the idea of, of players going to basically lose games and kind of lose value, right? Now, at the same time, that hasn't been how it's worked historically, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels fell in love with Arizona State when he was a recruit and wanted to come here because he believed in what they were doing. Down here in Texas where I live, right, we see that happen all the time. I mean, Houston, has gotten great recruits, even though they're a group of 5 school. UCF just signed 2 top 150, or just got commitments from 2 top 150 players today because they just love UCF and love what they're about, right? So I think that that NIL is going to definitely be a boogeyman forever. Obviously, the money flowing is going to be a boogeyman. But more than anything else, I think that this is a feeding frenzy right now because it's brand new. that's going to change a little bit. I think it's going to settle down. We're not going to see sort of the throwing money at problems, especially from some of these maybe more mid-tier Big Ten and SEC schools like we're seeing right now. But long term, I do think that that programs that develop well, programs that put players in the NFL, programs that give kids a chance to succeed, that's still going to be a huge draw for really, really good players to go. And the other thing too, by the way, is when we have this much coming in and these programs recruiting at such a high level, we've seen second order benefits when it comes to some of these, even right now, group of 5 schools who have been able to nab some of these high level players who didn't get the playing time that they hoped for, didn't get the NIL that they hoped for. So I think that it's going to work a little differently than it has in the past, but I don't think by any means it's going to like kill the sport or anything.
Definitely. Just a couple more questions and we'll get you out of here. I know you're busy. Maybe one of the bigger questions surrounding everything, as I mentioned earlier, everything is just kind of going on a daily and hourly basis. What is the timeline? You've mentioned the discussions, you've written about the discussions, but what are we going to see moving forward in terms of, okay, Arizona State or these next 4 teams moving to the Big 12, potentially an ACC agreement? Just what's the timeline for everything?
So the short timeline is ESPN and Fox have a 30-day negotiating window with the Pac-12. So there's going to be talk about scenarios, right? It's going to be what kind of money can we get right now? How much will we lose by losing USC and UCLA? Can we be competitive with a new Big 12, with the ACC, and to some extent with the SEC and Big 10? If those numbers are great, then I think that solves a whole lot of problems. I don't expect that, right? I mean, I think that certainly we all expect that the numbers are going to be okay. So then you start moving to scenarios about adding new teams, trying to poach from the Big 12, trying to poach from the Mountain West. So that'll, I think, happen in the next 30 days. If the early returns are bad, I think that you could see these teams making a relatively quick decision. And for these 4 schools, right, they're 4 great schools that definitely deserve to be playing at the highest level. But they aren't ones that are guaranteed a spot in this new reality, I don't think. So I think that if they feel like the Big 12 is a safe haven for them, you could see movement in the next month or so. Now, the long-term sort of thing that we have to keep an eye on right now is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, their contract with NBC isn't up until 2024, and they control a lot of the board right now. If they join the Big Ten, then all of a sudden the Big Ten is expanding, and maybe the SEC expands to kind of counter that. And so I think Oregon and Washington, and maybe Stanford as well, are going to stand pat and kind of wait to see what happens there. Because, if you have an opportunity to get into these giant money conferences, I think that every school is going to be trying to do it. But, I think that could take up to 2 years. I mean, that's the kind of timeline we could be talking about with that. But for these 4 schools especially, we might have an answer in the next month, but everything is really fluid right now.
All right. So I kind of threw a fit when this was happening because I hate the geographical nonsense that's happening. And I've seen a lot of ideas floating around. And one of them is from this article that was written by an SB Nation writer for Texas A&M, the Power Four. Yeah. I love this so much. Do you think anything like this can ever happen where it's West, South, North, and East conferences? Do you think that is ever going to happen, or is it just going to be a free-for-all in the next couple of years?
So it's not going to happen this round. Let's put it there to start this way. I do think, and for people who follow me on Twitter, you might have seen some of my thoughts on this. I feel like one thing that might happen is that we're hearing so much about all the money that's being thrown around and all the ideas and all this stuff. But in 5 years, if ESPN and Fox don't get the recouping of their dollars that they hope, I don't know if this is going to be as big a win for them as they hope, right? I think they look at ratings like Penn State versus Auburn, and they see Ohio State versus Oklahoma, and they're like, what if we made the whole plane out of these ratings, right? But I don't think it actually works like that. If teams are conference opponents, if teams play all the time, and if every brand is a big brand that you're putting on TV, all of a sudden you kind of devalue the brands that you have. So I think that maybe long-term, maybe we see sort of a recouping of this. This is probably a decade or maybe even 2 down the line, right? When we kind of go through this and get returns and see that the returns aren't what we hope. So look, I think that at its core, college football is a game about proximity. I think that it's about playing teams in your backyard. I think that as Arizona State fans, right, like what you want is to go and talk to your friends who are Arizona fans and get to talk about how you guys beat them last night, right? Like that's what this is about. And I don't think that hits the same if Arizona State fans are going to the office and being like, well, maybe I can FaceTime a Rutgers fan and get mad at them, right? It's not the same thing. And so I think that it really does miss a whole lot of what we love about sports. You guys as Arizona State people aren't going to suddenly decide, well, we want to follow the big conferences, so we're going to watch UCLA instead. That's not going to happen, right? That's not how this works. And so I think fundamentally, maybe long term, like long term, we start to see a little bit of a reversion back if this model doesn't work out. But who knows? Maybe there is a huge appeal, and maybe there is a huge draw for what's effectively semi-pro football, but I just am probably a little skeptical that running an NFL model with something that's so built around proximity and ties actually ends up being a long-term winner.
There was obviously reports recently about there being kind of loose discussions between the Pac-12 and the ACC about their kind of alliance thing and the potential of a ACC Pac-12 championship. Do you think that something like that is really possible, even like logistically speaking? And how does that kind of play into what happens with the college football playoff? Just what kind of far-reaching effects could something like that have?
Yeah, so according to Dennis Dodge reporting, right, this has been kind of pushed potentially by the ACC, and I think that what this is more than anything else is the ACC sees what's happening with the Pac-12 and Big 12 and realizes this is about to happen to us if we don't find a way to get more money. So is there a draw for it? I don't know. I mean, are people going to be clamoring for the Washington versus Wake Forest matchup? I don't know. I don't really see the draw on that. And the big issue right now for the ACC is that, it's a blessing and a curse. They signed a contract until 2036 with ESPN. Obviously, they produce the ACC network now, but it's at a number that's far below what the SEC and Big Ten are about to be making. So they're trying to find ways, I think, to recoup value, recoup contracts. And with the Pac-12 right now, I mean, look, if those four teams that we talked about leave for the Big 12, that's kind of it for the Pac-12 as a major conference in terms of football. So I think that there might be some desperation, but I think that question is going to be answered in some way by Washington and Oregon and Arizona State and Utah, and whether that's an appeal to them. And I think it's way too early to kind of know whether that actually is a real appeal. I mean, I do think that in one way or another, we're going to see some level of consolidation, right? And I think that there is going to be a place for a third type conference to come about and try to take up some of that extra space, right? Because people aren't just going to watch, I don't think, two leagues. I think that people want to see major college football elsewhere as well. And we'll see how the playoff system kind of facilitates that. But I think that it's more likely going to be a combination of Pac-12 teams with this new Big 12 that ends up kind of standing up and being that third conference. And, and we'll kind of see what happens with the ACC when Notre Dame makes their decision and when some of the title contenders from the ACC do as well.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how this all plays out over the next, as you said, potentially 2 years. Shehan, we appreciate your time. Is there anything else that we missed that you think college football fans or just fans of college athletics in general should know?
No, I mean, I think you guys did a great job. I think that obviously, look, we're heading into this tumultuous time. And even though I'm a national college football reporter, this is not the most fun part of the sport for me. I want to see regionalism. I want to see rivalries. I want to have a chance to talk about football as well. And, I think that it's really unfortunate that this is going to take over talking season as much as it has, and it's going to take over this upcoming season as much as it has. But, I think that certainly for Arizona State fans, they're in a good place. They're going to be able to control their own destiny to at least some extent. And look, the fact that that right now Arizona State is kind of moving in a regional block, I love that. I think that that's great for the sport. I think that's great for Arizona State fans. And, so I'm confident that even if it is, the Big Ten and SEC controlling everybody else, there's going to be a lot of great college football to watch regardless.
Definitely. A lot of fun. Give him a follow on Twitter at Shehan Jeyarajah. Again, thank you so much for your time. Shehan definitely with some we could have talked to him for hours.
Yeah. So good.
The topic in general is just something that there's still so much to unfold, as he said, within, even the next 2 years, potentially. Shawn, what was your favorite part of the interview?
It was just, I mean, I was talking about this before the show with you guys. Like, one thing I had never really brought into account when talking about just the kind of the future of ASU sports in general and how this plays into all of this realignment is the literal growth of the Phoenix metro area. Like, how many people, like you said, are coming from California? Shout out Josh Hunt. Like, stuff like that. Like, I had never really thought about the fact that, like, we talk about kind of the turmoil that ASU sports are in, or the fan base, and like all of that is set to change because there's going to be more people here, and it makes ASU a little bit more attractive to these other conferences. I mean, honestly, it's hard to pick out like one thing from this interview because his answers were amazing, but like that is one thing that really stuck out to me that I had not really considered before.
What about you, Shane?
The little shot at U of A. I had to get it in there. Is it really that big of a selling point? Because they're not in the same tier as a school like Kansas. I mean,
despite what Saul Bookman might tell you.
I do think, I mean, yeah, it's a big get for a conference, but not as big as you would think because football trumps all. And as he said in the interview, you can't expect revenue if you're doing the same thing that ASU and Kansas have done in football in the past 10, 20 years. Like, they just have to be better. And I think U of A is on a good track in terms of football. I mean, you've seen what they've done with recruiting. And, we'll see what happens. Obviously, you know my stance on the whole thing. The geography of it doesn't make sense, and I hate it, and it's stupid and dumb and whatever. But that there's some light, even if the light is 20 years down the road. A Power Four, as they call it, a East, West, North, and South conference thing would be really fun. As much as I'm rooting for players, coaches, the sport in general to succeed, I think it would be better for just the overall landscape of college football if this money grab didn't succeed as people were thinking. Because I don't want to see, the best 20 teams are the only teams that have a chance. I want to see random UCF schools get angry because they didn't make the college football playoff. I want to see, the Cincinnatis, as much as I think they weren't as good as people thought. I want to see those type of stories, and you're not going to get that if you're getting 10 teams competing in the same division like the NFL for everything. So you saw already in the chat defending UA. UA basketball creates more revenue than ASU football.
Yeah, but
neither here nor there.
There was one thing that I feel like he was kind of like because like I was very like much not all that worried about the regionality. And obviously that was something you were very worried about. And I feel like there was like a middle ground there. Like he talked about if they were to join the Pac-12, like there is like a geographic, like there's some sense to that.
The Big 12.
The Big 12, yeah.
It's not even like it's possible. Of course it is. But that's not what I'm worried about. I just think it takes away the magic a little bit. And that's what he was saying. It's it's not great for the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the illusion he talked about, right? Like you talk about like a UTEP or whatever these small schools, like even though we, like he said, we all know that they're not going to be in the college football playoff, especially as it is with the 4 teams. Like it's the illusion that you can, or that if you were to go up against an Alabama, you never know type thing. And obviously that is eliminated with some of this.
And
stuff.
Saul's saying I love ASU and UA Big 12. It makes sense. Yeah, I do want to clarify. I'm not rooting against UA to fall wherever ASU goes. If UA doesn't go to wherever ASU goes, I'm going to be.
I would be shocked if
I would be
they have to go in pairs.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, and it would make sense, and it should make sense, and it would be fun. I think that's what the best is. In no case I'm saying they don't deserve it. I think if anything, they deserve it a little more than what ASU has done over the past couple of years.
Yeah. And also, like, I think just in a vacuum, like U of A and ASU going to the Big 12, I love that. Like, I think if this wasn't in the context of everything of college football as we know it collapsing, and it was just like, hey, we're thinking about moving to the Big 12, like I'd be like, absolutely sign me up. Like that, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, with the context, it's a little different, but I think on paper, those two schools being in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 geographically is not terrible. Like you pointed out, Texas Tech, and also just it would be fun to see them against schools like that.
Josh asking, which schools do you think would be the next great rivalry of these mergers? USC, Ohio State.
Yeah,
that would be electric.
And if Notre Dame ends up in the Big 10, USC Notre Dame. Seems like
USC Notre Dame's already their rivalry.
But that extra little
I feel like
fighting for the spot.
I want to see Notre Dame to the SEC. I want to see Notre
Stop
Dame to
it.
the SEC.
That would be the death of college football.
And I want to see Notre Dame and LSU. That is the rivalry I want to see.
ASU Baylor and UA Kansas. UA Kansas is the next big rivalry.
UA Kansas is like, who can score more than a safety in football and also win the national championship?
Who's going to come out with the craziest trick play? Like that Kansas laying down in the end zone on kickoff.
I think, and we talked about it a little bit the other day on the show, is
I
think Arizona State and Texas Tech makes a lot of sense in terms of a rivalry. They had their home and home series.
They're not as far as you would think.
Yeah, years ago. And that's, I mean, in my personal opinion, the greatest ASU football game I've ever had the luxury of watching was that ASU Texas Tech game when Mahomes was here and went off for however many touchdowns, and then Balaj had his 7 rushing touchdowns. Like, they make a lot of sense given, again, geographics. They're similar tiers in terms of where they stand in the conference.
Yes.
Like, it'd be a lot of fun.
You know how schools still do, I guess, but like they have trophies for rivalries?
Yeah.
ASU, Texas Tech, they should just, whoever wins should just get custody of New Mexico. Like, they should just get the state.
New Mexico's the
That
child.
is a great idea, which also includes Gerald Bourguet.
Yeah.
So you're fighting for Gerald, the Gerald Bourguet trophy.
Gerald Bourguet and green chili.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Great combination. Also, if you're wondering why the lone decoration on the table today is napkins, if you didn't
And
watch
Shane's phone.
and my phone. Well, you can't. Oh, you can see.
Yeah.
It. Sorry. It's because Shawn has to eat atomic wings. I don't know if you guys were here for the start of the show or for last week, but it's happening. And when are we doing that?
Yeah, we're gonna do it right now. But first, what are you gonna be drinking to alleviate the pain of these atomic wings?
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
I have some Sprite, a milkshake, but most importantly, got myself a 4-piece.
The Enchantment Bowl.
Kilt lifters. Insert whack joke here. Listen, ASU in the whack, I am fully prepared to whack off.
Dude, there's a difference between typing it and saying it live. I really resent you saying that live.
I am completely here to capital W, capital A, capital C off.
Because you know why. Josh Hunt, clip that. Only that part.
No.
Yes.
All over social media. This is what you get for being a big dummy. But we're drinking some Four Peaks.
Yeah. Kilt lifters.
I love the design on that can, honestly.
The kilt, yeah.
I didn't even notice it.
We should wear kilts on the show someday.
That feels like it should be a punishment.
I literally always get called
You look
out.
like you could wear a kilt and get away with it.
Oh, I don't get away with anything. I think I look fantastic in it.
That's what I think you say. Isn't that what not?
But I'm not getting. But it's an assumption that I would look good. I'm not getting away with shit. You're just assuming that I'm going to look good. I'm not getting away with it.
No, that's you getting away
No,
with it.
I don't feel like. I feel like you have to get away with a kilt. There's no assuming.
There's no being like,
unless
he's
you have
wearing a kilt.
bagpipes that are from Scotland.
He also looks like he could play the bagpipes. Maybe you just look Scottish.
No, I don't.
That's a big Scot.
Maybe.
Great Scott.
But it is dangerous because I do also get ridiculed for wearing short sleeves or a little longer. But sometimes I cross my legs.
You got a good color to your legs.
I'm drinking Kilt Lifter.
To answer the question, and if you guys want to come down and talk about this whole college football conference realignment mess that is going on right now in the NCAA, you can do so tomorrow at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub, because us, along with the Coyotes crew, is going to be doing their draft day live party there tomorrow at 4 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely go out there. You got to be 21 or older if you're going to drink. Please drink responsibly.
You don't have to be 21 or older. Just go.
Just to drink.
Show
just
up.
to drink.
If you want some beer, you got to be 21 or older.
But let's get to... I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
Why am I feel like we should get past the talking, like me actually having to talk about ASU news before I eat it.
No. Part of it is going to be...
Yeah, that's the fun of it.
Yeah, we got to see you try and function with these wings. So let
me preface this by saying Shawn doesn't think he's going to be as debilitated as this.
They don't look horrible. They don't look like they're going to mess
It doesn't matter what they look
have
like.
A smell. I'm not going to eat them with ranch to begin with. We'll see what happens. I might chicken out a little bit. Listen, I just want to say... What'd you say?
You said chicken out a little bit.
Oh, and you did,
because you're eating chicken wings.
Got him.
I just want to say, I do not I'm fully prepared for whatever consequences come, and that is my point. I'm not. I think my ass is about to get kicked here. I just don't think I'm going to be on the floor vomiting like some people are.
No. I don't assume you're going to be vomiting.
I have a feeling that you're going to not talk for 6 minutes and you're going to be coughing.
That'd be crazy.
That would be
ever
crazy.
Go 6 minutes without talking?
I usually sleep more. No, I guess I might talk.
Yeah, Max said he's really gonna have to wing this one.
Yeah.
God,
let's do it, man.
All right,
atomic wing number. And so, just to preface, he's got 6 wings here, classic wings. He's got to eat them all by the end of the show.
What if I just want to keep the show going and I just like leave a wing to the end and I'm like, we're just gonna hang out for a
Well,
while.
because then the show would get a little flat.
But you know what I just did there? Use some
You use my drumsticks. Nice.
Okay, hurry up.
No, I don't want to. All right, I'll go.
Don't touch your eyes.
No, yeah.
Please touch your eyes.
Ooh, those look a little menacing.
They
little
smell
menacing?
like they're on fire.
Oh boy, let me crack open this Four Peaks though, so I'm ready.
So this not only is a punishment for Shawn, but also a reward for us because, as we've said, Shawn talks a lot.
A lot.
It's kind of my job.
Yeah, but it's all of our jobs.
No, because
technically.
even when we're off the clock.
That's true. Shout out Totri for buying me lunch. All right.
Yeah, punishment turned into me buying Shawn lunch.
Here we go.
These better be really bad. So let's just start. Well, let's not even act like he's eating these right now.
Okay.
Let's
Let's go to the solo shot though for his first bite.
Yeah. So first bite, but while he's eating them, what happened today?
So Allison Royalty, former Arizona State softball pitcher, announced on Instagram that she would be transferring to Florida State.
That's hot, huh?
That is really hot, really spicy.
As hot as those wings, Shawn?
Nothing. There's nothing.
Oh no!
There's nothing odd about Florida State softball. Oh my god.
So what do you think, Shawn? I'm just curious what you think about the move to Florida State.
Why do you want to play in the ACC?
Why did she want to play in the ACC?
Yeah, like. Why do you want to play in the
Chicken's
ACC?
kicking his ass right now.
Why do you want to play? Why do you want? Why do you want to play softball?
Shawn's gut has entered the transfer portal.
It is transferring to.
According to Espo.
I don't know.
His gut is transferring to
He's
the
lost the
hospital.
capacity to think right
well, now there's no chance of ASU
My gut is
having
transferring to the WAC.
a pitcher coming back.
Yeah, at this point. Did Lindsay Lopez? I don't think Lindsay Lopez or Marissa Scholl has announced where they're going yet. But I still don't anticipate.
Cody saying he's a good eater. Yeah, he is.
I don't anticipate Scholl or Lopez coming back. But we haven't really seen any like major updates in terms of softball. They got their coach. They've gotten a couple players, like I believe from Ball State, who were at the time under Bartlett years ago. How are those going, bud? Oh, you're just downing him.
Dude, he's struggling.
I thought they were going to be hotter.
Really?
Oh, here we go. All right. And well, let's continue while he eats.
Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. Like I know they got the coach and that's like
The back of my head is sweating. I just want to throw that out there.
like I don't know what else I expected, but like I expected at least a little noise in the transfer portal, right? When your roster is this decimated, I expected a little bit of something. But there's been nothing.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for
I just don't think it's
Are you good, bro?
No, let's just keep going. Keep going.
It's the build up. Like it's starting to.
Yeah, they're gonna hurt, Shawn. They're going to hurt. I just think that it's hard to really do anything when you have such big, obviously, turnover on the team, but also on the coaching staff. Like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
I don't know why I lick my fingers.
Let it be known that Shawn pre-draft decided the punishment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this to myself.
Yep.
What do I go for? I'm going for the 4 feet.
You going for the kill
This is so great.
He's 2 in, by the way, guys.
He's got 4 more.
He's only 2. Oh, he only has 6. That's
He
good.
only said
Good.
I almost went 8 or 10,
Whoa.
and then I'm like, oof, that's probably gonna be a little much. They looked at me too when I picked up the order. They're like, "Are you sure about this?" I'm like, "Oh, they're not for me." Oh, this
Slow
makes
down,
me so
buddy.
happy. This makes me.
Okay.
This makes me so happy. Well, actually, now that we've talked, we've gotten a lot of discussion out of the way.
Camera off him.
We've gotten a lot of discussion out of the way in terms of
Throw me in the corner.
No.
outside of ASU football, the Pac-12 Big 12 merger, ACC agreements. We've talked to ASU softball. Why don't
I'm cold.
Shut up, Shawn.
before we get to our next draft, why don't we decide the punishment for next week's draft?
Yeah.
Or for this week's draft now. What are you thinking since you had the bright idea last time?
I'm not thinking anything right now. I'm thinking,
Well, mythical.
Move on.
We're doing mythical
We're
creatures.
doing mythical creatures
So
for our next draft.
So drop in the chat what you would like to see as a punishment on next week's PHNX Sun Devils Wednesday show.
And try and have it be somewhat related. I like it being somewhat tied to
it's
what
just
we've
hard
been doing.
Maybe you have to dress up as one of the creatures you drafted.
That's really hard, though.
Is it?
Do we know anybody that could face paint?
No.
No? I feel like we got
Sounds like something Sean's girlfriend would be good at. I don't know why.
No? I feel like you took a class on face painting while you were at Syracuse.
No, we're not doing any more spicy crap.
Eat a Carolina pepper.
No Carolina Reapers.
Sean's
please.
not going to be able to feel his tongue for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Is my estimation. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll ask around in the office.
Yeah.
Can you take my hat off for me?
Sure. I've rubbed your tummy. Bad.
Thank you.
It's rough for you, isn't it?
A little bit.
Remember when Sean said they're not that hot?
I kicked the bobblehead.
It's build up for sure.
It's usually how it is. Yeah.
Ooh, have to dress as a unicorn.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that could definitely work. We'll brainstorm. We'll think about it. I'm just excited to be able to draft this because I know a lot of mythical creatures, but I'm a little afraid I'm going to get too niche. I think I'm going to go pick third here
Really?
because, like, sure there might be a consensus number one, but I don't know if there is.
I don't think there is a consensus number.
Okay,
one.
I'm going 3.
Okay, then I will go 1. Sean will go 2. How you feeling over there? But I just want to check in on you.
Hot.
Okay. Well, if you're listening to this on audio, again, highly recommend you watch along as well because Sean is quite literally on the verge of
Josh
tears.
in the chat saying if you want to go wild, put the loser in a corn maze while the other 2 dress up as a minotaur.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know about all that.
God, I should have. Honestly, LTC, I should have tipped the guy extra to make those even extra spicy.
Here, you're sweating out 5 pounds right now, Sean.
I'm getting lightheaded.
Just saying, those are the only wings on Wingstop's menu that have the 5 peppers.
I like the face painting idea.
I do too, but I don't know anybody that can face paint.
I'm sure we can find.
I think it'd be better if the other two had to figure it out.
If they had a what?
Yep. We face paint the loser.
Oh my god.
It has to be an honest effort, but we have to. Yeah,
okay, I'm down for that.
Let's do it. That's happening.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the loser has
What
to get
are
their
we
face
doing?
paint.
My brother in spice. Oh my god.
My brother in spice.
Before we get
it's
to
beautiful.
the last segment of the day.
Wait, did you see Josh's last message?
And beat the loser.
Before we get to the last message, or the last, wow, you got me thinking of messages here. Before we get to the last topic of the day, got to tell everybody about the offer going on the DraftKings
Sean, why don't you
app.
tell them the offer going on the
Here
DraftKings
you go.
Sportsbook app?
Right here. For new customers only.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX to make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
My God. This is incredible. This
Yeah,
is like, I think the best we come up with good punishments.
Yeah. Jose reminding you, Sean, don't touch your face or anything. And if you have to pee, thoroughly wash your hands.
Yes.
I'll pee my pants first.
That would be a horrible look.
Would it?
Yeah, man eats spicy wings, piss himself on YouTube.
I'm wearing black shorts. You wouldn't be able to know.
I think you'd be able to see it.
Yeah, you smell the face. I feel like your face would give it away. 100%. Let's get to the snake draft. Why don't
Let's do it.
Do we have the audio for this?
I don't think we do.
No, but I can sing it.
Go ahead.
Anthony Totri. Anthony Totri, you are now on the clock.
Okay. This is what I was gonna draft at 3, but I think now that I'm 1, I think this is still my 1.
I know where you're going with this. It's such a bad pick.
What?
Yeah, I think he's gonna do what you think too.
I'm gonna draft Angels.
Oh.
I'm drafting Angels.
Problematic,
at
but
1
okay.
overall. Wow. Wow.
That's not where I thought you were going with it at all.
That's where I'm gonna go.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm going unicorns too.
Yeah.
Magical horn.
That's where you thought he was going?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. I'm going 3 as Kraken.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Shout out Seattle.
And then Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good back
I
to
should have
back.
gone dragons. Coming back, I'm gonna go. Bigfoot.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Interesting. I'm gonna go Pegasus
Oh, that's money.
as the.
Okay, I thought I thought he drafted a unicorn. He had a unicorn and Pegasus. I'm like, oh.
No.
Okay.
Can't have too many horses. God
Yeah,
knows I
no.
drafted a Mexican restaurant
Yeah.
last week. Give me Pegasus, and then on the way back, I'm going to take Genies.
Wow, I love
That's
that.
a great one. I just had one in my spice brain, lost it. I am going fudge me. Wow. I'm at a severe disadvantage here. What did you draft?
I drafted the Kraken and Dragons.
What did you draft?
I've drafted Angels, Pegasus, and Genies.
Oh, Griffins. That's where I was
Good
going.
pick.
Lame.
Good pick.
Lame.
No, I
It's
like
a
the pick
flying
of
lion.
Griffin.
What are we talking about?
I like
they're cool,
Griffins.
but
And don't they breathe fire?
okay, give me Baalisks, giant,
Excuse me.
giant snakes,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
and centaurs.
Centaur's good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick.
I'm raking right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay,
I gotta
this is what I
go to my
thought
draft
Toadtree was
board
going to
here.
draft first because he said he was going to draft it first at 4 peaks. But since it's fallen this low, I'm going to take it. Mermaids.
Okay, yeah. It's fallen.
Yeah.
After further consideration, I realized that there are a lot of great mythical creatures, and mermaids are just too far down on the list. For my final 2 picks, I'm going to go Phoenix.
Okay.
And then I am going to wrap things up with... This is a tough one. It's between 2 here. I'm going to go Cerberus.
Really?
What is
Yeah.
that?
A big dog
The 3-headed dog.
that guards hell.
Yeah.
That's a little too niche, I think, for the crowd.
You think?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm a big fan, a huge fan,
Huge Cerberus fan.
huge Cerberus fan. I would say I'm a Cerberus elitist almost,
Really?
but yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
can I draft Giannis Antetokounmpo?
No. But good try.
Can I draft Kristaps Porzingis? So I guess I already did. I'm gonna go leprechauns. I guess there was a lot of
They're real, but okay.
Wait, actually,
Go off.
is it too late to?
Yeah,
No,
go
he's
ahead.
switched
Switch.
before.
I'm going elves. I feel like
Okay.
elves have a little
So
more
can I
power.
do this?
We'll see.
Oh, God.
Ghosts.
No, because you have claimed that you believe in them. So we
You can't do ghosts because I feel like that falls under the same category as aliens. Like, they could be real, they could not be.
Okay.
That's just my 2 cents on it.
Okay.
And I feel like if you drafted aliens, that would be.
Yeah. Okay, this is tough. This is tough.
I feel like 2 are getting left off the board.
I had a bunch in my mind. Now I'm really thinking it over.
This is your last pick or your last
Yeah.
2 picks?
This is my last pick.
Genie's such a good pick, by the way. Totally.
This is the last pick of the draft.
Oh, okay.
That is a good point. Well,
Yeah, if you can do angels, I should be able to do ghosts.
I would lie more on the side that
Demons.
you shouldn't be able to draft.
Can I do demons then?
That's
Yeah, you can do demons.
Well, isn't that an angel?
They're fallen angels.
Yeah.
They're different. They're definitely different.
We're getting in some dangerous territory here.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Oh, this is
Angel-
tough.
Oh my God, Baker pick. I have a terrific.
This is the last pick of the draft.
No, I know, but
There's 2 that got left off the board.
there's one that I want to go back on my pick so bad.
I do. I want to go
Oh,
back on
man.
Cerberus, but I'm not going to.
I want to go. Can I go back on my picks?
Nope.
Since you,
No.
you
Nope.
haven't dropped your next
Nope.
one?
I'm picking
Nah.
mine. Goblins.
2 that got left off the board. Werewolves, vampires.
Dude, fucking Santa Claus.
Oh my god.
Come on. We're
That's
not,
so
what are you doing
stupid.
here? What are you fucking
I'm just
doing?
saying.
Sean, your board
You're an
is a
idiot.
child board.
My
God.
brain is on fire.
Yeah, well, don't lose next time.
So, what are the teams rounded out? Why don't we go with Sean's
Fuck
first?
if I know.
yeah, Sean has no idea.
I didn't remember the first 2. After
I had Krakens, Dragons, which unbelievable first 2. Centaurs,
Goblins
Goblins,
and elves.
No, I didn't have elves.
Oh, you didn't take elves?
Didn't you take elves?
I didn't take elves. Did
Sean
you
took
take elves?
What was my other
instead
one?
of leprechauns.
Oh, Baalisks.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
It's the giant snake.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. I had angels, genies.
Yeah, Josh knows. I'm going goblin mode.
Angels,
Storm ran
genies,
demon time.
Phoenix, Cerberus. And what was the other
Sean.
one? Oh, and Pegasus. And Sean had, I do not remember.
My
your
girlfriend
list.
wants to break up with me because I won't stop going goblin mode.
Dear God. Dear God. How many more you got?
One more after this one.
Okay, we got to finish it before we end the show. Who's the early favorite, do we think?
I think I am just because of the 1-2 punch of Kraken and Dragons. I can't believe Dragons slept all the way to me. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I feel like
I thought that was the consensus number 1.
Dude, I think I'm gonna pass out. I just got super lightheaded.
yeah, Dragons was. I was hoping that I could stay at 3 because I
Is that
could.
it?
There's one more.
I don't remember.
No, do you
No,
have
is there one more?
Oh my god.
He's hurt.
Well, be careful, Sean.
No,
Yep.
I know. I went knuckle. I have
Okay.
glasses. Oh,
I feel like you haven't drank anything.
I haven't because I took a sip and then I realized it's a coward move.
Well, and it also makes it doesn't really help that much.
The milkshake would probably help, but the beer definitely.
You can
is not.
hear the pain
Yeah.
and fear in his voice of this last wing. That's a wet one too.
I'm glad the next punishment is what's it called?
Can we get the
Getting
solo
face
shot
painted.
on Shawn real fast? He's in a lot of pain.
Oh man. Do you have anything to say to everybody watching, Shawn?
Fuck with the boy.
What?
I didn't understand what he said.
Fuck with the boy.
Oh,
You said
okay.
fuck the boy.
No, I did not. You can't have...
Faint for the ratings, Shawn. Josh says.
Sean's struggling right now, bro.
Yeah.
Shawn Evans.
Oh my god. Oh, good.
Shout out Maya Rudolph.
Let's ask.
Shout out Idris Elba.
Let's try to.
Shout out Paul Rudd.
We're just naming actors.
Shout out Shaquille O'Neal. No, these
So
are people that had famed appearances.
Shawn,
on
if you did
Hot Ones.
lose on the draft, what do you want to be painted as?
Yeah, but it has to be one of your mythical creatures, right?
Yeah. Mermaid?
How do you do that? Like, what do I have that you can paint? Is a question.
I don't remember your pick, so
I had mermaid. I had
unicorns.
unicorn. I had.
We can paint you as a unicorn.
I had.
Do you have elves?
I had elves. What was my last pick?
I don't know, bro.
The elves was my last pick. Fuck, dude. Fuck me. I don't know.
This is crazy.
This is awesome. Well,
Yeah.
that is going to do it for today's show. If you enjoyed the content, please head over to gophnx.com today and become a member of the family, because when you do, you're going to get either your first month for 50 cents or a free t-shirt from the locker. Shawn,
Nah. You know what we should do? When I lose, we should get one of those mermaid blanket things. And I have to dress up. I just have to have the mermaid fins on the whole time.
Don't they actually make those though?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it for you.
Those are expensive as hell. You know that,
Not
right?
like real ones, like a blanket. Like
Okay.
the blanket looking ones.
Okay. Yeah. Head over.
Deceased before that.
Totri talks to us sometimes when he says okay, like a he's talking to a child that doesn't know what he's talking about in a certain subject. He's like, okay, let's move on.
Well, it's just like Sean's over here goo goo gaga. I'm just like, yeah, buddy, come on, we're gonna get through this.
He is kind
okay?
of cuckoo guy going right now.
A goo goo gaga.
You want to tell everybody about the shirt you're wearing?
Oh my god, that is brutal on audio.
Phoenix Rising shirt, brand new. I got my. I almost wore my new
DT shirt.
DT shirt, but I was afraid one of you were gonna wear it.
I almost wore it.
I wore it
didn't-
already.
Yeah, well, I knew you did. I was afraid Tochi might wear it. I didn't want to show him up.
Okay, bro.
What was the question? What did you want to know?
And that is
That's
going to do
it.
it.
We're good.
Please give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils on Twitter. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Shane at Shane Deef, and you can follow Shawn DePause at Shawn_DePause.
On fire.
On fire as always. Yeah,
Yep.
on fire as always.
On
baby.
fire.
And we will be back with
En fuego.
an audio show on Thursday. And if you'd like to vote on this poll, again, head over to our social. But for now, congratulations to Shawn
Oh my god.
and peace.